Good evening, America. I'm Angie, and this is N3 Primetime, where we stare into the night with news that's nudging the nation. Tonight, Gary's unmasking a storm sweeping through our stars and stripes. Historian Victor Davis Hanson sounds the alarm on a liberal-led revolution reshaping our moral and legal landscape. Are we the patriots on the brink of a transformative peril? Plus, an unexpected turn in the House has Donald Trump on a shocking potential path to become Speaker. We've got the ins and outs coming your way. And guess what? Trump's not leaving the spotlight, diving headfirst into a civil fraud trial with revelations that might just rattle the judicial scales. But hold on to your hats, because NYC's right to shelter law is under a sizzling spotlight amid a surgent migrant crisis and a bipartisan blowback. And later, a Trump takedown as he puts Biden's policies under a scorching microscope on his new platform, Truth Social. Buckle up, because Gary's revving up the night with these stories and so much more. And hey, don't forget, we're diving deep into the comment section later on to hear your thoughts. Plus, in looking at you, we spotlight a face causing ripples in our national narrative. All this and a heap more on tonight's N3 Primetime. Over to you, Gary.
Good evening, America. You're tuning in to N3 Primetime because, just like me, you understand that the stakes have never been higher. Whether it's seismic shifts we're observing in our political and moral terrain or the ever-changing dynamics of our nation's legislative process, these aren't just stories, they are the threads weaving together the fabric of our shared American identity. At times, these tales of political power plays and societal metamorphosis might feel bewildering, much like trying to navigate a financial future that you aren't familiar with. And speaking of securing futures, let me draw an analogy. Imagine, if you will, embarking on a journey to secure not just your financial legacy, but also your nation's legacy. It's much like wanting to take charge of your finances, but feeling lost in the fray. And that's where Noble Gold Investments comes into play. They cut through the noise of the financial world, ensuring you are not alone in your quest. Real customers echo sentiments like, no pressure, just genuine expertise. And right now they're offering a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualifying accounts. Why swim in financial ambiguity? Dive into nextnewsgold.com and get started. Truly the only gold company that I put my trust in. You can also call them at 877-646-5347. And even if you're not investing, call them and tell them thank you for sponsoring this program. They'd love to hear from you. And now let's go back to Angie. What stories are you covering tonight?
Thanks, Gary. First up, we have Josh Hawley, who is stepping up and punching with the State Border Defense Act, a bid to give states the muscle to defend their own borders. It's power versus chaos, and it matters as our states wrestle against a tide of unchecked crossings. Then the late-night TV circus is back, but not without Trump's ticket of approval. His hefty swing at the talentless creeps reignite the debate on the liberal-laced jests, igniting a discourse where conservatives find their laughter amidst the bias. And the standing ovation for the GOP soaring in the trust polls, spotlighting that when it comes to the economy and security, it's the red corner where America's placing its bets. Meanwhile, Illinois Governor Pritzker's urgent cry to Biden mirrors the desperation of states battling the border crisis, asking, where does the humanity meet policy? Lastly, Senator Warren and a standoff that digs into ethical mires, challenging not just nominees, but the very integrity of political practices. It's a show stacked with the stories that sculpt our nation and conversations that count. And it's all right here just for you. Gary, I'm tossing it over to you now for the first deep dive into our special report of the night.
Welcome back to this special report with me, Gary Franchi. Historian Victor Davis Hanson recently sat down with Tucker Carlson, and his revelations, they are a must-watch. Hanson warns that America stands at a critical juncture, and the choices we make in the coming months could determine our future for generations to come. This is not about party politics. This is about the very fabric of our great republic. What you're about to hear might shock you. And as always, we have an explosive final thought that you do not want to miss. So let's dive deep into what Hanson believes is truly at stake. America's always been a melting pot of ideas, values, but according to historian Victor Davis Hanson, it's currently undergoing a transformation that's nothing short of revolutionary. In his recent dialogue with Tucker Carlson, Hanson voices concerns about the direction liberals are steering the nation. He perceived a blatant abandonment of traditional moral values, all in a quest for power. For Hanson, President Trump isn't merely a political figure, but embodies a significant threat to the specific liberal vision, a vision he links to a term called critical legal theory. So what is this critical legal theory that Hanson mentions? In essence, it's the idea that laws, instead of being neutral instruments for justice, are tools of oppression designed by the powerful to maintain their dominance. Liberals, according to Hanson, view Trump as an obstacle to their transformative objectives and thus justify any means to counter him. Hanson described the liberal mindset vividly. Watch.
Well, I think they've come to the conclusion that Trump represented an existential threat, and by association, half the country did, to their vision of what they want to transform us into. And so they feel that any means necessary are justified by their noble spiritual ends. And therefore, they call it critical legal theory. Just essentially, Tucker says, there's rules against stealing only because rich people don't steal, and therefore it's okay to steal. And modern monetary theory says print as much money, and eventually rich people will have to pay higher taxes or have their 401ks appropriated. Same thing with the border. Short term, everybody's mad at the border, but in dark rooms, they're saying to each other, in 10 years, everybody's going to appreciate what we did. We brought in 10 to 15 million new constituents. So, and I guess to put it all together, they feel that they're at a stage now where their agenda does not appeal to 51% of the people, and they either have to bring in new constituencies or change the system, the entire system of which we are acculturated to retain power, and that's what they're willing to do. And there's no such thing anymore as theft or lies or any of these things, because they're just constructs, and they're just anything that's useful to gain power is considered legitimate, and anything that's not useful is illegitimate, and that's how they define morality. And I think we're very naive, Tucker. We don't realize that we're in the middle of a revolution. We think that we're still playing within the same sidelines or parameters, and it's not. Everything's under negotiation, whether it's the Senate filibuster, the Electoral College, new states coming in, the size of the Supreme Court, voting IDs, the genders, the foundational data of the United States, pronoun usage, from the trivial to the existential. We're in the middle of a cultural, economic, political revolution, and I think we're awake.
The historian's perspective on the contemporary political climate is stark. He suggests that there's a growing belief among liberals that since their agenda doesn't resonate with over half the population, they need to either bring in new constituencies or overhaul the system entirely. In Hanson's words, they're willing to redefine values, morality, and even facts to achieve their goals. But it's not just about politics. The cultural fabric of our nation is also under threat. Everything from gender definitions to basic societal structures is up for renegotiation. From his analysis, the implications are clear. If this revolutionary momentum is not addressed, the America we know could be irrevocably altered. America's changing foundations mirror the restless nights that many face. The deep sleep we once knew feels distant, akin to conservatives watching shifting national values. To combat sleepless nights, I found Sleep Miracle Plus, recommended by the Sierra Integrative Medical Center. This blend combines chamomile extract, passion flower, valerian root, and melatonin. It naturally promotes relaxation and ensures a deep sleep with its liposome delivery system. As we seek ways to revive our nation's principles, let Sleep Miracle Plus restore your sleep. Visit GetSleepMiracle.com for 50% off on an auto ship and a buy one, get one free deal. Now, returning to Hanson's insights, there's another facet of this evolving scenario. He calls upon conservatives to make a concerted effort to resist what he terms the progressive Jacobin agenda. And he's not just talking about abstracts. He suggests directly confronting companies like Target and Disney for their progressive stance and challenging the trigender movement. But what's the solution? The upcoming elections, especially that of 2024, present an opportunity. A return to normalcy, in Hanson's words, might just hinge on that election. Here's what he had to say.
But right now, I think there's one last effort on the part of conservatives. They're going to say, you know what, we're going to speak up as we've never spoken up before. We're going to go after Target. We're going to go after Disney. We're going to say that we're going to go after the three-gender movement, and we're going to try to win this election. We're going to try to win the House. We're going to try to win the representative. We just have to unite behind, and we'll see if that works. I'm really afraid. Everybody says democracy's in danger, but I think if they feel that they have the majority of the people, and I think the majority of the people are against this progressive Jacobin agenda, and they still can't find power, then we're going to be in new territory. We're in new territory now. And so there are legitimate efforts to rectify and stop this madness, and let's see what happens in 2024. But I don't think it works anymore just to migrate to a red state or to drop out of the popular culture. You've got to get control of the political apparatus of the country through elections. And your worry is legitimate. If you can't do it through fair elections, then what do you do? So I think this election, I know everybody says that each election is paramount, but this one is very important because we're in the middle of a revolution, and it's our only avenue to a counter-revolution to return to normality. It's going to be a very explosive. I hope everybody can keep their head, because I think the next 12 to 18 months are going to be the most explosive in our history since the Great Depression.
Migrating to a red state or disengaging from popular culture, Hanson suggests, is no longer enough. It's crucial to seize control of the country's political apparatus through fair elections. But the question remains, if the elections don't reflect the will of the people, what is the alternative? So, ladies and gentlemen, our republic stands at a crossroads. Historian Victor Davis Hanson's insights shed light on an ongoing revolution that seeks to redefine the principles this nation was built upon. As concerned citizens, we must ask ourselves, is this the direction that we're heading? Is this the path we want for our children and grandchildren? Our republic's founding fathers envisioned a nation of liberty, freedom, and justice for all. The stakes had never been higher, and the decisions we make today will shape the America of tomorrow. It's time to stand up, engage in the conversation, and make informed decisions. This isn't about being liberal or conservative. It's about safeguarding the values of our republic, because if we fail to act now, we might wake up in an America that's unrecognizable. So let's be the change we wish to see and ensure our great republic remains the beacon of hope it's always been. Angie, the latest on Capitol Hill buzz. Angie, what can you tell us about Senator Hawley and this new act?
Senator Josh Hawley has stepped into the ring, introducing the State Border Defense Act, a bold move aimed at securing our southern borders. This act would empower states like Arizona and Texas to construct their own defenses and take legal actions against illegal immigrants, something critical as our nation grapples with the chaos of unchecked borders and the clear ramifications that spill into states like Missouri. Hawley's robust action comes amidst what many view as a crisis, intensified by President Joe Biden's hands-off approach to border security. Meanwhile, down in Texas, buoys in the Rio Grande, part of Governor Abbott's unwavering stand against illegal crossings, survived legal challenges, further underscoring the fierce battle states are undertaking. It's an undeniable strain, friends, with far-reaching impacts, and Americans are urging for solid, actionable solutions. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Quite a stir in D.C. Gary's got the full scoop on this major upheaval. Gary, what's happening with Trump and McCarthy?
Good evening, Gary Franchi here with a major update from Capitol Hill and a twist that nobody saw coming. Former President Donald Trump has been nominated for Speaker of the House. This after Kevin McCarthy's shocking exit from the role. Many had speculated that McCarthy might claw his way back to the top, but it seems that chapter is now closed. And now, all eyes are on Trump. Will he accept? What could this mean for Washington? You don't want to miss our deep dive into this explosive nomination, and most importantly, stay tuned until the end for our final thought on why this matters to every single American in our great republic. The political realm is no stranger to shockwaves, yet we have now witnessed something that might just redefine the term political earthquake. Congressman Troy Nehls has thrown a curveball, nominating former President Donald Trump for the most influential position in the U.S. House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House. And not just that, he is gaining support. Many American First patriots support my nomination of Donald Trump as Speaker of the House. Personally spoke with Representative Luna, Stubbe, Jackson, Moore, and many others. Let's make America and the House great again. So this move has not just taken Washington by surprise, but also the entire nation. Previously, Kevin McCarthy held this esteemed position. He made history, though not the kind politicians aim for, by becoming the first ever speaker to be ousted from the role. While many political pundits speculated on McCarthy's next move, the consensus was that he'd attempt to reclaim his post. However, all those predictions went out the window when Nels stepped up to announce McCarthy had officially thrown in the towel. Instead, in a move that's rattling cages across the nation, Nels put forward Trump as his nominee. Now, this might sound like a stretch to some, especially given the precedent of the role, but it's essential to understand that unlike other prominent congressional positions, the Speaker doesn't need to be an elected representative. This means Trump, even as an outsider to the current Congress, is a viable contender. And breaking straight from New York courthouse today, the lingering question that had all of America in suspense has now been addressed. The former President Donald Trump has officially confirmed that he's been approached about the prospect of becoming the House Speaker. When pressed about this decision, Trump said, "All I can say is I will do whatever is best for the country and for the Republican Party." So it sounds like a yes to me. The political landscape on Capitol Hill, already rife with speculation, now teems with renewed energy and anticipation. And for those eager to hear this straight from the source, let's take a moment to listen to Trump's own words on the matter. Watch.
A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker. So all I can say is we'll do whatever is best for the country and for the Republican Party. Would you take the job? People. Would you take the say we have some great people. Would you take the job? A lot of people have asked me about it. I'm focused. You know, we're leading. I don't know you. I'm sure you don't read too much in the papers, but we're leading by like 50 points for president. My focus is totally on that. If I can help them during the process, I would do it. But we have some great people in the Republican Party that can do it.
If I can help them, I would do it. Now, in the midst of this revelation from Trump, another notable Republican voice has entered the fray. Congressman Jim Jordan has also declared his intent to run for Speaker of the House. Jordan, a staunch ally of Trump, formally posted his letter announcing his bid. In his letter, Jordan emphasizes the achievements of the Republican majority, stating, "The American people have entrusted us to lead in the House of Representatives. Our majority has had success in the first 9 months of the 118th Congress." He acknowledges the divided times and calls for unity with the Republican conference. His closing remarks make his intent clear. "We are at a critical crossroads in our nation's history. Now is the time for our Republican conference to come together. I respectfully ask for your support for Speaker of the House of Representatives." With these developments, it's evident that the race for the Speaker's position is gearing up to be a very intense battle. Now back to Trump. This is not the first time that Trump's name has been associated with the role. Last November, the House Freedom Caucus circulated a memorandum, you can see it here, among its members. The document was clear that it was time to consider alternatives to Kevin McCarthy, especially after the Republicans' much-anticipated red wave in the 2020 midterms that didn't materialize as expected. Two prominent figures from the caucus, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, vocally supported Trump for the Speaker position, as does Marjorie Taylor Greene now for Trump to take the Speaker position. And speaking of Gaetz, his disdain for McCarthy was crystal clear, referring to him as a feature of the swamp. Gaetz went on record vehemently expressing that the Republic would benefit from a more competent Speaker than McCarthy, and he further criticized McCarthy for not keeping his word and violating the January agreement about Washington's modus operandi. The moment was all caught on video and is something that you've got to see to believe. Watch.
To whose benefit? People have called you a narcissist. People say that it's to your benefit alone. Is it to the benefit of you and to Donald Trump?
It's the benefit of this country that we have a better Speaker of the House than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his word. He made an agreement in January regarding the way Washington would work, and he violated that agreement. We are $33 trillion in debt. We are facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits. We face a de-dollarization globally that will crush Americans, working class Americans. Kevin McCarthy is a feature of the swamp. He has risen to power by collecting special interest money and redistributing that money in exchange for favors. We are breaking the fever now, and we should elect a Speaker who's better.
Drain that swamp. Now, the tensions following McCarthy's ousting didn't end there. Gaetz, not one to mince words, displayed his frustration with the Republicans who desired to delay electing a new Speaker. He argued passionately that the people's work shouldn't be put on the back burner. Watch.
I was very disappointed that Mr. McHenry said that we won't be engaging in the people's work until next week, until Tuesday of next week, and I think that's burning a lot of time.
Oh, just to make clear, so he said that the House is leaving town until next Tuesday, and then the Speaker's race is going to be then?
Yeah, it was very disappointing. I think we should stay, we should work. I think we should have a Speaker election this week. I think we could easily come together as a conference to do that. And so I just hate when we pause the clock. I hate when we stop our work and don't do the people's business.
Who are you going to get behind as a candidate?
I don't know who the candidates are.
Well, Donald Trump, right? Such sentiment resonates with many Americans. They voted for a representative expecting action, not procrastination, especially at such a pivotal moment in our republic's history. Making the political environment even more tumultuous, 8 Republicans joined hands with Democrats, leading to McCarthy's downfall as Speaker after 269 days. Those Republicans included Buck, Biggs, Burchett, Crane, Gates, Good, Mace, and Rosendale. Leading this charge, Gates explicitly stated his disinterest in the Speaker position and said he emphasized the importance of electing a Speaker who truly represented the people's voice, free from the corrupting influences of special interests. And before we continue further, let's take a moment to discuss a topic just as unpredictable as today's political drama, our financial future. The political upheavals we see today remind us of how crucial it is to secure our financial destiny. Similar to McCarthy's unexpected ousting, life can be unpredictable. So how do you ensure you're financially stable during these times? Just as we need leaders who can guide our nation through uncertainty when it comes to our personal finances, we need experts. Enter Noble Gold Investments. They're like the political strategists of the financial world. They understand how precious metals work and can guide you in diversifying your assets into gold and silver. As the political landscape becomes more unpredictable, so does our economic future. But with Noble Gold Investments, you're in safe hands. They've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews. Why take your chances with your financial future when you can secure it with experts? Visit nextnewsgold.com or simply tap more below this video, or you can call the number on the screen. In navigating back to Capitol Hill chaos, one can't help but wonder about the implications of Trump possibly assuming the role of Speaker. For starters, there's nothing constitutionally stopping Trump from holding this position while running for president. And think about that for a second. The man who once occupied the Oval Office might be on the brink of having a direct influence on legislative matters and potentially making another bid for the presidency. Only in our great republic can such political dynamics unfold. And to some, the thought of Trump returning to a position of prominence is exciting. To others, it's alarming. Regardless of personal opinions, it's undeniable that Trump's potential acceptance of this role, as you heard him say he would do it, would shake the foundations of the political norms that we've grown accustomed to. Americans deserve a speaker who genuinely mirrors their voice and isn't simply another puppet of the overpowering special interests. The current D.C. norm has long been shackled by hidden agendas and agendas set in the shadows of Washington. A shift is required. Imagine the potential of having a former president presently battling an unparalleled wave of attacks and concurrently gunning for the 2024 presidency to suddenly take the reins, holding immense influence over the very swamp he has long criticized. This is the opportunity for a genuine disruption, a real chance to send shockwaves through the establishment. With Trump at the helm, wielding the speaker's gavel, it's not just about asserting authority, it's about enacting a form of political justice many Americans are yearning for. It's about taking on those who have been eroding the foundations of a republic. Now think of the sheer transformative potential that moment holds. It's about time the swamp gets drained from within with determination and strategic prowess.
Late night TV shows are back, but not everyone's rolling out the welcome mat. After a 148 days standstill, the Writers Guild of America put an end to their strike, rebooting the late night circus. But hang on, former President Donald Trump isn't tuning in. He swung hard at the talentless, low-rated creeps of late night television on his platform, Truth Social, echoing a sentiment shared widely among conservatives. These shows, with their sharp liberal edge, have often jabbed at conservative values and leaders, most notably Trump himself. The unbridled bias of hosts like Kimmel weaponizing monologues to perpetuate what's dubbed Trump derangement syndrome sparks further polarization in our entertainment, leaving conservatives to seek refuge and representation in alternative platforms. Dive deeper. Get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Gary, a big secret and a silenced Trump? This sounds like a can't-miss special report. What do we know?
Good evening, America. Gary Franchi here with a special report you do not want to miss. There's a storm brewing in the courts of New York City. Picture this, former President Donald J. Trump in the midst of a heated civil trial, drops a major revelation for all to see, and the response? A stern silencing gag order from none other than the presiding judge himself. Trump attempted to shine a light on an unsettling connection between the judge's clerk and certain high-ranking Democrats, but it seems certain powers would rather keep the public in the dark. Tonight, we unpack this explosive situation, diving deep into the links, the posts, and the truth that many want to suppress. Remember, stay with us until the end for a final thought that every citizen of our republic needs to hear. There's a saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant. But what happens when the very system meant to deliver justice actively blocks the sunlight? An alarming development, former President Donald Trump was issued a gag order by Justice Arthur Engoron during his ongoing civil fraud trial. Why, you ask? Well, it appears that Trump shed some light on a potential conflict of interest, pinpointing links between the judge's law clerk and prominent Democrat figures. Diving right into the thick of it, Trump took to his social platform, Truth Social, to share an intriguing post. And this post revealed that the judge's principal law clerk, Allison R. Greenfield, had notable ties to Senator Chuck Schumer and, by extension, the Manhattan Democrats. In his post, Trump, ever the provocateur, referred to the clerk as Schumer's girlfriend. He further expressed his concerns, stating how disgraceful this case should be dismissed immediately. But in a sudden twist, instead of addressing these claims head-on, the judge swiftly handed down a gag order. He prohibited all parties from discussing or even emailing information about his staff members. Despite the evident public interest in the revelation, Engoron decreed silence. This in a republic built on the foundation of free speech and transparency. Before we dive any deeper, let's take a moment to talk about something that might sound unrelated but ties back to our central theme today. In just as sunlight uncovers hidden truths in justice, awareness plays a pivotal role in personal health. Recently, a study unveiled that the secret to successful weight loss might be as simple as stepping on a scale regularly. This act keeps your goals front and center, however, thousands are turning to supplemental support to expedite their journey. And I found a potent natural solution designed to help weight management and curb cravings and boost metabolism. And here's the best part. For this month only, you can avail a whopping 51% discount. Don't miss out. Visit trimwithgary.com or find the link right below this video. Discover the gift Mother Earth has provided to aid our weight management journey. Now, back to the ongoing saga in New York. N.J. Burkett of Eyewitness News ABC 7. He's been on the ground capturing every twist and turn. Watch.
Right, Dave. The reason for the gag order was apparently a social media post that Trump made attempting to portray the judge's law clerk, of all people, as a Democratic operative. Well, the post has since been deleted, but not before it was seen potentially by millions.
Donald Trump returned to court for a second straight day, this time sharpening his attacks on New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who sits no more than 20 feet from the defense table.
Her numbers are fraudulent. She's a fraud. Her numbers are fraudulent, and this case should be dismissed.
But Justice Arthur Engoron has already ruled that Trump and his associates, including his adult sons, wildly overvalued the former president's net worth and his real estate assets to make deals and to get big loans. The state is now seeking $250 million in fines and a lifetime ban on the Trumps from doing business in New York. The defense has insisted that real estate values are subjective, that no one was deceived or defrauded, and that Trump's bankers profited from the loans. Yet despite the humiliating allegations against his business empire, the former president is using the trial as a campaign appearance, knowing he will get far more national exposure here than he would on the campaign trail.
She should start looking for the murderers and the criminals, the violent criminals all over New York. Do something about all of the illegal migrants pouring into our city and state.
And the former president confirmed today that he will testify here, ultimately in his own defense.
Now, Trump, no stranger to controversy, remained undeterred by the judge's warnings. Following an extended lunch break on the trial's second day, the courtroom was electrified. Engoron, often regarded as mild-mannered, bore a decidedly stern countenance. He openly voiced his disdain for Trump's comments, labeling them as disparaging and untrue. Furthermore, Engoron revealed that he had taken the liberty of cautioning Trump's attorney against such aggressive and potentially libelous tactics, but Trump, being Trump, shifted his focus to the judge's law clerk. Now, it's crucial to understand the backdrop of this trial. In a judgment that was issued last September, Engoron alleged that Trump had, for over a decade, defrauded various institutions by inflating the value of his properties. The Trumps, in the eye of this legal storm, face a potential $250 million fine and a possible ban from conducting business in the state of New York. Amidst all this, New York State Attorney General Letitia James becomes a focal point. Trump, never one to back down, publicly lambasted James, going so far as to label her a fraud. James' response, well, she sat stoic, a mere few feet from Trump, absorbing his words but offering no retort. And further stirring the pot, Trump confirmed his intention to testify his defense. Given the trajectory of this trial, his testimony promises to be nothing short of sensational. And returning to the contentious post, why did it elicit such a fiery response from the judge? The post in question revolved around Greenfield's consistent rejection of Trump's legal strategies and arguments. Trump claimed that she was ruining this case against me, fueling speculation and debate across the nation. And in the world of a fast-paced social media, repercussions were swift. Trump's post on Truth Social was hastily removed upon the judge's directives. Concurrently, Greenfield turned her Instagram profile private, perhaps in an attempt to shield herself from the glaring spotlight. A republic like ours thrives on transparency and accountability. The foundation of our judicial system rests on the belief that those who uphold the law remain impartial, unbiased, and free from political influence. But when a figure as polarizing as Trump highlights potential biases and political affiliations, it sends shockwaves throughout the country. We might wonder, is this merely another instance of Trump stirring the pot, or are there legitimate concerns about the objectivity and fairness of this trial? This isn't merely about Trump as an individual, but about Donald J. Trump, the presidential candidate for the 2024 race. In our republic, built upon the principles of freedom and free speech, no candidate's voice should ever be silenced, especially not in a critical run-up to an election. Trump's revelations about Greenfield's affiliations raise not just concerns about a single trial, but larger questions about the integrity of our electoral and judicial systems. This gag order comes at a pivotal juncture in Trump's campaign, and one cannot help but see the profound implications it could have on this race to the White House. The timing and context have led many to question, is this merely another orchestrated attack against a candidate who has consistently aimed to reveal uncomfortable truths? Whether one supports Trump or not, the core issue here is the sanctity of the Republican process. In a nation that champions freedom, truth, and justice, the voice of a major presidential contender should never be stifled. As we reflect tonight, we need to consider whether this is merely an isolated incident or the forewarning of the lengths some might go to control narratives. The answer, my dear viewers, is a testament to the resilience of our Republican ideals. Angie, new polling data spelling something ominous for Democrats. Can you give us a snapshot of what's unfolding?
A hearty cheer for the Republican Party standing tall as the nation's most trusted, especially when our economic and national security are on the line. The latest Gallup polls reveal that 44% of folks trust Republicans to tackle the big issues over the Democrats' 36%. With a striking 53 to 39% edge over Democrats on the economy and a robust 57% to 35% lead on national security, the Republican credibility shines. Not just Gallup, even an NBC News survey indicates a historical edge for Republicans on economic policies since 1991. Amid soaring disapproval for President Biden and Congress, the Republican Party remains steadfast, echoing the concerns of many on border security, crime, and constitutional rights. Friends, it's a clear call for Democrats to perhaps take a leaf out of the GOP playbook. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Big words from Bill Clinton. Gary, unpack this for us. How is NYC's crisis shattering political unity in the party?
Tonight, in an unprecedented shift, former President Bill Clinton, a stalwart of the Democrat Party, stands with Republicans openly challenging New York City's sanctuary city laws. Clinton's decision is echoing in political corridors nationwide. Why the sudden change in stance? And what's the compelling reason for it? Stick around, because in this special report, I will not only dive deep into this unexpected turn of events, but also share a critical perspective in our final thought that you do not want to miss. New York City, the city that never sleeps, has lately found itself at the epicenter of a debate involving its policies, especially the right to shelter law. Instituted decades ago, this law mandates the city to provide shelter to its homeless residents and even those migrating into the city. The intention behind the law at the time of its inception might have been noble. After all, it was primarily aimed at addressing homelessness. However, with the ever-growing migrant crisis thanks to Joe Biden's open border policies, the pressure on New York City's infrastructure is at an all-time high. And that's where the controversy begins. The recent times have seen an influx of migrants, illegal aliens, many of whom have come after crossing the southern border from Mexico. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he paints a grim picture of the future. His projections suggest that in the coming years, the city may have to funnel over $12 billion to address the implications of the ongoing crisis. Now let's pause and consider this for a moment. The migrant crisis isn't a problem only for New York City. It's been a challenging aspect of America's socio-political fabric for years. But when you have leading figures like Bill Clinton and New York Governor Kathy Hochul suggesting the need for a reevaluation and the potential amendment of such policies, it's time to sit up and take notice. During a recent radio appearance, Clinton articulated his concerns regarding New York City's right to shelter law, and he didn't mince words, proclaiming the law broken. Clinton went on to suggest that the law doesn't make logical sense in its current form. Listen.
The real problem they've got now in an emergency is that is not the people that were sent up here from Florida and Texas by and large. It's the huge number of Venezuelans who have showed up because of the collapse of the Venezuelan economy. And under American law, going back for decades, I mean, way before any of this current fight started, we have always had a blanket offer of entry into America for people who have a reasonable fear for the lives and safety of their families and themselves. And so a lot of the Venezuelans can easily make that case, but they come in here, and under the current law, they have to wait 6 months for a work permit. Now, very few of them do. About 80% of the people who come to New York and to Massachusetts, the two states with right to shelter laws within the state, although I see Governor Hochul thinks it should be modified, and it probably should under the current circumstances. It's just because they come up here and we're supposed to shelter people who can't get work permits for 6 months. And there's just we need to change that. We need to, if they want to work, they need to be working, paying taxes and paying their way. And most of these people have no interest in being on welfare for themselves or their families. They want to work, and they're not allowed to under the system as it now works. It's broken, and we need to fix it. We need to rush through these things. And because all these people, I mean, even in Florida where the climate seems to be hostile, there's this very large number of immigrants working to help clean up after storms, because Florida has so many of them. And they go in and clean the house, sort what's savable and what's not, and help people get started again. And they work for Lord knows what they get, maybe $100 a day or something. But it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. This isn't just a matter of rhetoric. It's about the reality that the city is experiencing. Clinton highlighted the absurdity of providing shelter to individuals who might wait around 6 months for work permits. His words were a call to action. They ought to work. They need to begin working, paying taxes, and paying their way. Most of these people have no interest in being on welfare. In a way, it's reminiscent of our natural process our bodies go through, where something that once worked for us now needs amendment or intervention. Consider our muscles. As we age, especially after we hit the age of 30, our muscle mass tends to decline, resulting in weight gain and increased susceptibility to falls. To address this, products boasting ingredients like MyHMB, creatine, betaine, and vitamin D3 are crucial. They not only fight muscle loss, but also boost our endurance and performance. If you too are feeling the effects of age, claim this special product at gainwithgary.com and benefit from a whopping 41% discount along with some extra gifts. Remember, Like our society, our bodies also need timely intervention to remain at their optimal best. Now back to the topic at hand. The ramifications of the existing policies aren't limited to the city's fiscal health or its ability to provide shelter. It's also a matter of national optics. Clinton was candid in his interview, noting that the migrant crisis unraveling in major cities, particularly in New York, is far from a positive portrayal for the Democrats. It's noteworthy that this isn't just about partisan politics. The very essence of this debate is rooted in the fundamental question of how America, a great republic, addresses immigration. It's well known that Clinton, even in this critical juncture, highlighted the importance of immigration. He underscored how it's beneficial for America given the country's declining birth rate. He went on to point out the current labor shortage in various American regions, which can be addressed effectively by the immigrant population. Yet Clinton's concerns about the city's policies are hard to dismiss. The very fact that prominent figures like Louis Martin, chief advisor to Mayor Eric Adams, are voicing similar sentiments suggests a broader realization. Louis Martin stated that New York City shouldn't bear the responsibility of housing migrants based solely on the state's right to shelter laws. And Clinton isn't alone. There's a growing choir of voices, even from within the Democrat fold, calling for a reevaluation of the city's policies. Governor Hochul, echoing Clinton's sentiments, highlighted how the mandate was never intended to make the city responsible for housing literally the entire world. This view was further substantiated by the comments of Mayor Eric Adams and Governor Hochul, both of whom emphasized that the original intention was to address homelessness and not cater to the current flood of migrants that Joe Biden is welcoming into this country. Ironically, this influx has been exacerbated by decisions from Republican governors like Greg Abbott of Texas and Ron DeSantis of Florida, who have been shipping migrants to New York City, and thankfully so. It's as if the city, already gripping with its challenges, is being further burdened by political decisions from other states. But of course, those states have called themselves sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and I'm thankful that Abbott and DeSantis have decided to ship the migrants there. In concluding this exclusive report, we're witnessing a seismic shift in the political landscape. Bill Clinton, a stalwart of the Democrat Party, publicly breaking ranks, raises eyebrows and threatens to fracture long-held party lines on immigration. The gravity of this cannot be understated. When a figure of Clinton's stature and influence diverges from party doctrine, it may well signal the beginning of a tectonic shift in the national conversation around immigration. The underlying message is unambiguous. America must prioritize and champion legal immigration. The risks of unchecked policies are too great, and the stakes have never been higher. Clinton's stance is more than just personal opinion. It's a challenge to the status quo, an urgent call to reassess and realign our immigration policies with American values. This could be a watershed moment in the debate, prompting both parties to reckon with the complexities of immigration in the modern era. The big question now, who will join him?
Illinois, known as a sanctuary for illegal immigrants, is sounding the alarm, with Governor J.B. Pritzker penning a piercing letter to President Biden, urging more action on the intensifying crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. The current administration, entangled in a narrative of misrepresentations, is witnessing their policies unravel into a dire humanitarian predicament. In 13 short months, a staggering 15,000 people journeyed into Illinois, compelling the state to allocate over $330 million for humanitarian assistance amidst their battle against the pandemic's impacts. With Chicago contributing over $100 million, resources are stretched thin. Pritzker pleads the humanitarian crisis is overwhelming our ability to provide aid, highlighting a stark and growing discord among Democratic governors like Kathy Hochul of New York, who are now questioning the effectiveness of Biden's border policies. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Gary, Trump's new video is stirring the pot. What revelation is he bringing to light?
Tonight we have a special report that's bound to send shockwaves through Washington. Former President Donald Trump has just dropped a bombshell video on his Truth Social website, and it's already the talk of the town. In the video, Trump doesn't mince words as he takes direct aim at President Joe Biden and his administration's policies. From being the world's superpower to becoming a global laughingstock, Trump lays it all out, and trust me, you don't want to miss our final thought on this, so stay with us for the full report and see the video that's reigniting political debates across the nation. It's no secret that former President Donald Trump knows how to make headlines, and this time he's done it again with a new video release on his Truth Social website. The video is already gaining traction, and for good reason. Trump goes straight for the jugular, targeting President Joe Biden for what he perceives as failed policies that have led America from its pinnacle at the most powerful nation in the world to being ridiculed on the global stage. Before we dive deeper into the content of the video, let's set the stage. Trump's video comes at a time when he's been in the news for various reasons. Just this week, he appeared in a Manhattan court for his trial on fraud charges. New York Attorney General Letitia James has accused Trump of overvaluing his assets. But that's another story for another day. Today, our focus is on this explosive video. In the video, Trump doesn't hold back. He directly criticizes the Biden administration for their policies, which he believes has allowed America to become a global laughingstock. The video has already generated a lot of buzz, and we have it right here for you right now.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
The chills. Brian, can we watch that again? Roll it.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
I love it. As you can see, Trump's critique is fiery and unfiltered. He pulls no punches in his assessment of the current state of our nation under Biden's leadership. This isn't just about political rivalry. It's about the direction in which our great republic is headed. And speaking of directions and being prepared for unexpected turns, it reminds me of something crucial. The world is changing unpredictably, be it natural, political, or economic crisis. No scripts, no warnings, and that's why it's vital to be prepared. And right now, My Patriot Supply has a rare 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food kit. Protect your family, 1 kit per person. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Visit preparewithgary.com right now to get your 25% discount. It's always better to be safe than sorry. And now back to our main story. Trump's video isn't the only thing making waves. During his recent court appearance, Trump had some choice words for Judge Arthur Engoron, who's overseeing his civil trial in New York. Trump addressed reporters outside the courtroom, slamming the judge for bias, and went on to say this is a judge that should be disbarred. This is a judge that should be out of office. This is a judge that some people say could be charged criminally for what he's doing. He's interfering with an election. That is a disgrace. Engoron's recent ruling stated that Trump and his company committed fraud while building his real estate empire. The judge ruled that Trump had lied about his wealth and overvalued his assets to banks, insurers, and others. As a result, several of Trump's business licenses were revoked, making it challenging for them to operate in New York. But it wasn't just the ruling that angered Trump. A video of Engoron went viral after he was seen smiling when the camera did a close-up. Watch.
Is now being shown in the background. You've got Trump in the foreground, and it fulfills the narrative on both sides. Trump is
sickening. Engoron's ruling has implications beyond just Trump. Many firms in New York are now likely to review how they handle their financial estimates and information, especially if the government, alongside the far-left judiciary, is left in charge of interpreting their finances. Trump's lawyers argue that there was no evidence of public harm caused by Trump's actions, and some allegations were even barred by the statute of limitations. However, the judge refused to throw out the case. Amidst all this, Trump's popularity seems to be on the rise. In a recent survey conducted by Insider Advantage, Trump received the backing of 50% of respondents. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley came in at 14%, with Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida coming in at 15%. Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey, came in at 5%, and Vivek Ramaswamy, the tech tycoon, received 3% of the vote. And according to Chairman Matt Towery, barring a major upset, Trump is the clear frontrunner for the Republican nomination. As we wrap up tonight's special report, it's clear the political landscape of our republic is as dynamic as ever. Trump's latest video on Truth Social is more than just a critique of Biden's policies. It's a reflection of the sentiments of many Americans who are concerned about the direction of our nation. Whether you agree with Trump or not, it's essential to engage in these discussions and debates. It's through dialogue that we can understand different perspectives and work towards a better future for our republic. Remember, it's not just about the leaders we choose, but the values and principles we uphold. And as always, stay informed, stay prepared, and stay engaged.
A peculiar standoff in the world of politics as Senator Elizabeth Warren challenges the Biden administration's nominee, Demetrius Kouzoukas, to the boards overseeing Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. The hitch, Kouzoukas refusing to clarify if he'd resigned from his current post at Clover Health, a Medicare Advantage provider, upon confirmation, shrouds himself in a potential cloud of conflict, earning the sharp criticism of Warren, despite their shared party lines. His responses, evasive and non-committal, raise valid alarm bells on transparency and integrity in a role wielding substantial influence over healthcare policy. While Warren's stance sheds light on a clear ethical concern, it's also bringing into focus the often overlooked conflicts within party politics. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. That's all the news I have for this edition of N3 Primetime. Now let's join Gary, who's diving into your thoughts from the comments section.
You know what that sound is? It means it's time for the comments section where your thoughts find a spotlight. The vigor of your words, patriots, from the recent video Trump reveals stunner at New York trial total game changer exemplifies the pulse of an awakened nation. Let's take a look at our first comment from Ricky. Your allegiance, I will always stand by Trump. Best president in my lifetime. That comment echoes in the chambers of true American spirit, a devotion to a leader who unapologetically shouldered America's prosperity and security as his paramount duty. Now let's take a look at Joanne. Your assertion, totally agree with President Trump and his lawyer, reflects a conscientious stand recognizing the embattled truth amidst a spectacle of political theatrics. Truly, it's a sentiment anchoring in the discernment of judgment. And Robert, oh Robert, truth hurts, and I am glad he's speaking up Trump 2024. Precisely, Robert. A relentless pursuit of veracity is a journey that navigates through tumultuous seas of dissent and deception, but navigate we shall. John, you've painted a stark, bitter portrait. New York is a rotten apple. Don did so much for the state. The commander is 100% correct. A lament for a state once reveling in the affluence of leadership, now grappling with the repercussions of negligent governance. And lastly, God loves me. We are on your side, President Trump. A rallying cry affirming a steadfast solidarity that binds millions unbroken by divisive narratives and unswayed by the tempests of political turbulence. Dear viewers, these are not mere comments. These are the vibrant, unyielding voices of America. And in this space, your voice is revered. Your thoughts are potent, and your presence is indispensable. America thrives in unity. And here, you are not simply heard, you are ardently felt. And now let's take a look at who we're looking at tonight. Welcome to the N3 Primetime Looking at You segment, where we pierce through the media veil and bring forth the unscripted realities unfolding behind the scenes. Tonight, our lens is fixated upon Mark Dice, an individual who strode broadly into the media's own turf, delivering a starkly unfiltered message, embroidered with a pinch of wit and a dollop of audacity. Dice, a sharp commentator and critic of mainstream media, recently engaged in a daring act of subversion live on Fox News, Labeling it as culture jamming, he assumed a pseudonym. And guys, weaving his way through the network's airwaves, unfiltered and unchecked, a feat both comical and eerily revealing. His message was clear, exposing the media's seemingly insatiable hunger to exploit any narrative that guarantees riveting eyeballs on their screens, often sidelining doing due diligence in ethical journalism. To paraphrase his own words, Dice illustrated the evident exploitation of tragedies by cable news to maintain viewership, utilizing any fragment of information, verified or otherwise, to fill their time slots. His covert interaction with Fox News, while underlying the lack of verification, was not merely a prank, but a spotlight cast upon the media's own mechanisms turned against it. Here's that moment.
And we've got Tyrone on the phone with us now. Tyrone, when you say poker game, what exactly happened? What transpired?
Well, first we were watching, we all get together every Tuesday night, and we watch Tucker Carlson's show on X. We used to watch him on Fox News. Obviously, he's not there no more. And still being the most credible guy in the media in America, we always get together to watch Tucker Carlson, and I think he's doing probably better now that he's not with Fox News, because the corporate media always controls what the teleprompter readers are able to say. And now that he doesn't have that hand.
Thank you, Tyrone. Maybe we can work to get Don back on the phone. Tracy, we can get that. Clearly, that was not a student at Morgan State University.
Oh, man. You could hear Mark's voice coming through that. So clear. At the beginning, it was strong. He put it on thick, but you could hear like just the hints of Mark Dice coming through. I've known Mark for a long time. We're good friends. And my hat's off to you, Mark. But what ensued was a peculiar yet potent blend of irony and satire, utilizing the media's platform to critique its own practices. His daring interjection into the live broadcast, adopting the alias of Tyrone, was not merely a jest, but a nuanced critique. A mirror held up to the media's own methodologies, wherein the pursuit of real-time updates often tramples upon the sacrosanct principles of verification and integrity. But why, dear viewers, should this matter to the republic we all hold dear? The vitality of our great nation rests upon the bedrock of accurate, transparent information. When our primary channels of information become tainted by unchecked narratives and unverified voices, our collective decision-making, the very essence that fuels this republic, is compromised. So tonight, as we ponder upon Mark Dice's unscripted performance, we are not merely amused by a cunning stunt. We find ourselves prompted to question, to scrutinize, and to hold accountable those who disseminate information under the banners of truth and integrity. Our republic deserves not just media, but media that stands unwaveringly vigilant, safeguarding the sanctity of truthful reporting and embodying the principles that preserve our great republic. And for that, Mark, we're looking at you. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to bring the curtain down on yet another enlightening hour of N3 Primetime, from Victor Davis Hanson warning about a republic being etched away by revolution, to the startling maneuver of nominating Donald Trump for Speaker. Our ship of state is navigating through tumultuous waters, as always. We witnessed a civil fraud trial shrouded in controversies and political biases, and grapple with the moral and fiscal implications of New York City's right to shelter law amidst a burgeoning migrant crisis. Our former president, notwithstanding his own predicaments, doesn't shy away from critiquing the sitting president, signaling a politics that is as vibrant and contentious as ever. In our own backyard, Josh Hawley is not merely pointing fingers, but stepping into the arena with robust border defense proposals. Ladies and gentlemen, America's pulsing with a multitude of stories. Each thread weaving through this tapestry is neither isolated nor insignificant. It's not merely political theater, but the playing out of values, of policy choices, and indeed the very future direction of this great republic. As late-night shows light up our screens once more, we ponder, how do we reconcile our humor with our politics? With polls nudging Republicans as trustworthy on key national issues, we watch closely whether such trust translates into tangible leadership and policy direction. Not forgetting the unexpected, a progressive senator pausing a nomination in her own administration citing ethical concerns, underscoring that sometimes accountability might come from the most unexpected quarters. These stories, this melting pot of events, actions, and reactions, dictate our societal trajectory. They form the paragraphs and chapters in the ongoing story of our nation, which is why they should matter to all Americans. So as you switch off your screens tonight, carry these stories with you, talk about them with your friends, ponder them in your quiet moments, because, friends, it is in your discussions, your actions, and your votes where the next chapter of our story is written. So as we tie a ribbon around another pulsating edition of N3 Primetime, I want to extend a warm, heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for inviting us into your homes this evening. A special tip of the hat to Angie for distilling those news briefs with poise and precision tonight. Magnificent as always. And to everyone who chimed in with thoughts and comments and sparks of conversation in the live chat, your participation is not merely welcomed, it's vital. It's the fuel that propels this platform to be an authentic, representative voice of the people. Now, our journey through tonight's stories, navigated through the entwining vines of politics, ethics, and society, invariably lands us upon a reflection about the stability and security of our own futures. Which brings me to our grateful nod towards our sponsor this evening, Noble Gold Investments. Imagine for a moment your financial future as the nation we discussed tonight. The labyrinth landscape of variables, uncertainties, and potential pitfalls. Navigating this landscape, much like deciphering the complex tapestry of our nation's political and social pathways, demands knowledge, prudence, and sometimes a guiding hand. And that is where Noble Gold steps in. A compass in the potentially tumultuous seas of financial future planning. And they are not here to tell you what to do, but to provide you with knowledge, insights, and options. They take the convoluted and make it comprehensible, ensuring your journey towards financial stability mirrors the clarity we aim to provide you on this show. Your future needn't be an unsolvable mystery or an uncontrollable entity, and with Noble Gold's expertise, it won't be. And remember that a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coin offer for qualified accounts is yours, and make your financial stability tangible, just like the metal they can help you invest in. Peep into nextnewsgold.com or simply tap more below this video to navigate directly to their shorelines of financial wisdom. And the number on the screen, you can't miss it, 877-646-5347. Give them a call if you have questions or if you simply want to thank them for sponsoring this program. And so, as the curtains gently cascade upon tonight's spectacle of thought and conversation, remember, sharing information, dialoguing, and building communities is not just about preservation, it's about perpetuation. It's about safeguarding values, principles, and truths for the echelons that follow. Continue the conversation on Twitter. Spill your thoughts into the comments and share our link with a friend or two, ensuring that the flame of informed, respectful discourse perpetually illuminates our path forward. I'm Gary Franchi, and remember, I'm not here to merely make you a spectator. You are a contributor, a co-creator in this journey. Together, let's sculpt not followers, but leaders, beacons in their own communities. Good night, America, and may the threads of understanding and unity sew a resilient tapestry of tomorrow. Until then, never surrender.